On May 7th, 1995, Indiana Pacer legend Reggie Miller does something amazing in 8.9 seconds. All by himself, he makes an 8-point comeback to win Game 1 of the semifinals versus the New York Knicks. Here's the story behind how all this happened today on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. Now, Reggie is the brother of Cheryl Miller, who's arguably the greatest female basketball player of all time. And she helped him hone his basketball skills. He went to UCLA and then was drafted in 1987 with the 11th pick by the Indiana Pacers, who were a great ABA team but had not had success in the NBA just yet. But Reggie would lead the way to change that. And by the 90s, they were a perennial playoff team competing to get to the Eastern Conference Finals multiple years. But in doing so, they met with the New York Knicks multiple times. The Knicks were also a great team, being led by Hall of Famer Patrick Ewing as well. And in the 1994 season, the two had met in the Eastern Conference Finals in a close series that could have gone either way. But the New York Knicks ended up prevailing, making it all the way to the finals, where they would eventually lose to the future champions, the Houston Rockets. Now, this was a pivotal time in the 1990s, as previously the Bulls had won 3 straight championships with Michael Jordan, but he had abruptly retired to focus on baseball and allowed opening in the Eastern Conference for teams. Now, both teams had a very successful season. The Pacers finished second with 52 wins and winning the Central Division, where the New York Knicks finished third with 55 wins, coming in second behind the Orlando Magic that year in the Atlantic Division. And before the season, the Pacers made a huge trade with the Clippers, adding Mark Jackson to their team, giving them the team's future all-time assist leader and helping stabilize the point guard position. And that season was one of Reggie Miller's best seasons, averaging 19.6 a game, and was named an All-Star and third-team All-NBA. And the team was also headed by a career year by 7'4" center Rick Smits, who averaged almost 18 points a game and 7.7 rebounds. And the team also had a great guard in Derek McKee, who would be named to the All-Defensive Team that year, helping round out a quality starting 5 that the Pacers had never had before. And the Knicks came out slow in the 1995 season, having a 500 record after just 24 games, but would finish the season with a record of 43-15. But that wasn't enough to catch the Magic at number 1 that year, who were led by Penny Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal. But Patrick Ewing put a great season together, averaging almost 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game, and finished 4th in the MVP voting that year, which was won by David Robinson. And his running mate, John Starks, was also having a career year, averaging 15.3 points, and led the league with 217 three-pointers that year, and was the first player to ever hit more than 200 in a single season. Now, the teams would not face each other until the semifinals, so they had to win their first playoff series. The Knicks faced off against the Cleveland Cavaliers, beating them 3-1, as the Pacers would face off against the Atlanta Hawks, sweeping the series, which led to the Knicks facing off against the Indiana Pacers again in the playoffs. Now, the first game was held at Madison Square Garden, and the Pacers were being focused, as they did not want to get eliminated by New York again in the playoffs, and wanted the chance to make the NBA Finals for their first chance to possibly win their first NBA title. And they wanted to set the tone in Game 1. And Reggie Miller's running mate, Rick Smits, had one of his greatest games ever, scoring 34 points on Patrick Ewing. The Pacers won the very first quarter, 29-27. But the Knicks would come back in that second quarter to finish the half, 61-54. Now, the Pacers came out swinging that next quarter and holding New York to only 18 points. But that didn't matter, as New York had the crowd on their side and took the lead in the fourth quarter. And with just 20 seconds remaining in the game, they had the lead 105-99. But it was still close enough that the Pacers were not going to give up. And with 18.7 seconds remaining, Reggie Miller wiggled free onto the left wing behind the three-point line, caught a pass, turned, and immediately launched a three, giving them a score of 102, closing the gap to only a 3-point game with 16.4 seconds left. Now the Knicks needed to inbound the ball to try to run out some clock, and Miller was playing tight defense against Greg Anthony and bumped him, which caused Anthony to fall down. At the same time, Anthony Mason was throwing the ball in and couldn't help but throw the ball right to Reggie Miller, who caught the ball, stepped behind the three-point line, and hit another three, tying the game with just 13.2 seconds left, giving Reggie 6 points in 3 seconds. Now this time, the Knicks were able to get the ball into John Starks, who was immediately fouled by the Indiana Pacers. Now Starks was a 73% free throw shooter, but missed both free throws. The rebound ended up in the hands of Patrick Ewing, who took a decent shot, but missed, and it was rebounded by Miller, who was fouled by Anthony Mason, with 7.5 seconds left. And Reggie Miller was one of the greatest free throw shooters of all time, and this season was averaging 90%, and he hit both, giving them the lead of 107-105. So in the course of 8.9 seconds, Reggie Miller had scored 8 points and given his team the lead in the closing seconds of the game. Now the Knicks still had some time, and they gave the ball to Greg Anthony as he drove to the basket. He slipped and fell to the ground as time ran out, and they never got another shot, giving the Pacers all the momentum they needed to win the series in 7 games and head off to the Eastern Conference Finals once again, where unfortunately they were met by the Orlando Magic, who were on a tear and defeated the Pacers, making their way to their first NBA Finals, losing to the Houston Rockets. Now the rivalry between the New York Knicks and Indiana Pacers continued all the way up through the 2000 season, when the Pacers defeated the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals to make their very first NBA Finals, to face off against the Lakers, to face off against the eventual champ, the Los Angeles Lakers. And neither the Pacers or Knicks have won an NBA title since, still looking for that right combination. But this moment stands out as it showed to never give up on a game. Reggie Miller never saw the time as impossible, and what he did changed the momentum in this series and gave the Pacers a chance. But all we need is that small chance to do something. So never give up, even when the odds are stacked against you, as you don't know what will happen in the end. And if you have other great moments in history, please message us at dailysportshistory@gmail.com. We'd love to hear any topics that you would like us to talk about, and we'll give you a shout out for the show if we do choose your topic. And come back tomorrow for more Daily Sports History.